Hi, welcome to a brand new video of the Target Individual program, the Target Individual experience. Let me do a recap. A lot has happened, um, particularly what I do want to talk about today, which is again is happening again, and that is these cult members and their cult children have been targeting my son. And so it's, and then you guys will hear pay close attention to the honking or any noise, whether it be police sirens, fire trucks, as I'm doing this video. This will give you a clue of them listening to me doing this video. Okay? And whenever I say certain words or mention anyone in particular, you might hear a car honking or a siren going off. Okay? So I want you guys to pay close attention to that. And maybe after I mention this now, you guys will hear it, because again, they don't want you guys to be aware of those things. So I have to point those things out. So the next time if I'm doing a video, you will keep it in the back of your mind, and I won't have to mention it, and you guys will actually listen and hear exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? Alright, so let's talk about the situation with my son and how he's being bullied in school. So I talked in my last video about how this student, the girl, smacked him in his face and broke his glasses. And this is the third pair of glasses in which was broken, and not because of it's his fault, but because of students doing things to him to cause his glasses to be broken. So this morning, as I was, he got up, he got dressed, and he just didn't seem in a good mood. Like he didn't want to go to school. So I said, Ethan, do you want to stay home with me? You want to go to school today? He's like, no, or what have you. And I'm like, okay. But he still looked like he didn't want to go to school. So I think maybe he just didn't want to tell me what was happening. So we're walking to school, and he had this look on his face. He kept walking behind me and Alyssa. So I had to stop, wait for him. And so I kept asking him, I said, Ethan, what's wrong? And like, you don't go to school? You don't want to go to school? He's not saying nothing. So I said, what's the matter? So I said to him, listen, you're going to have to tell me. Okay? You can't keep, it to yourself. You can't not say anything. And this is what happened when children are being bullied, because the bullies, they threaten the kids and say, well, hey, if you tell your parents, if you tell anybody, this is going to happen to you. So the children are afraid. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to tell you what's going on. So we get to the school. Okay, gave my daughter a kiss, gave him a hug, and I turned around, was walking home, and he came running behind me, tears in his face, says to me, I have a headache. I'm like, you don't have a headache. From the time you got up in the morning to the time I woke into the school, you didn't complain to me about a headache. And normally, because I know my son, if he gets a headache, he'll let me know he gets a headache. Okay? But he waited until I was walking off, turns around, and started, ran back to me. So I sent him to school and was walking back, and I called Pam. I said, listen, hey, I think something is going on in that school with Ethan. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to the office and speak to the vice principal and whoever is in charge. Speak to Mr. Brown. He's in charge of security. So, but let me go back a little. So when we got to the school, there was a man standing on the sidewalk. Okay, he's wearing a Hispanic man wearing a blue jacket. And so after I noticed him because he was standing in the middle of the sidewalk, not doing anything. He was just waiting, like he wasn't waiting for anybody either. Because when he saw me, he walked off across the street. And then after I dropped the kids off, was walking back, and then I turned around after finished speaking to Pam, walking to back to the schoolyard to enter into the school. As I turn the corner, he's there again, standing on the sidewalk. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, went into the school, was speaking to the vice principal, let her know my concern. I said, look, I think my son is being bullied in the school again. And I said to her, I said, you see me here all the time because I'm always coming here because there's always some child, either bullying my kid, hitting him, or what have you. And then these kids will take cheap shots at my daughter also. So if she's on the line for lunch, they will punch her in the stomach, and they'll do it in such a way that she don't know who did it, right? But she'll tell me afterwards, and I mention it to the vice principal or to Mr. Brown. And again, but I feel like there's nothing really being done. The last girl that smacked my son in the face and broke his glasses, they called the parent. They said the parents never came. At that point, they should have suspended the child until the parents came to the school, right? But they didn't do anything because they brushed it off as, hey, what have you. Now, I know how it is in our community, okay? Particularly when it comes to our children, being labeled and, not getting the proper education. But when you have these cult members, okay, who are instructing their children to injure another child, okay, for the purpose because they trying to get to me in some way for whatever reason. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right? But it is what it is, right? And when it comes to these religious cult members, they do shit like this. Okay? So, I'm in the office, and I'm waiting to speak to Mr. Brown, because the vice principal called for him to come down. And guess who comes into the office? But the same man that I saw outside, right? So at that point, I said to myself, okay, this is like the third time I've seen him this morning, right? And then also the boy gave me a clue was that when I had walked back going to the school and he was standing on the sidewalk, there was two black women looking at him, looking at me, and then they stuck their tongue out their mouth. Okay, now I wasn't recording because I didn't really expect that, but that's what happened. So I'm okay, he's part of the targeting. And again, to try to shut me up from talking about what is they're doing, they always try to do things because they think I'm in fear or something like that, right? Which I am not. So, anyway, at least they like to think I am, all right? So, but anyway, so here, let me, okay, it's not this one. Let me go to the video. Let's see here. Oh. Okay, so here he goes. Here's the person. All right. Now, as the vice principal on the phone, this is I don't know whoever this lady is, but from the time I came in, this lady's sitting here. She's been sticking her hands in her ears, and she's been doing this a lot. Okay, particularly this morning, as I was talking to the vice principal. Yeah, the sirens. This is the fire trucks. Okay, told you guys. So I want you to look at his hands, his fingers. And again, they love to do hand signals. Okay, so I want you to see what he's doing here. All right. Oh, they know they're getting exposed. Now I'm gonna pause it. Watch this. See how he starts tapping on the in front of the desk, and he's gonna use his middle finger. Watch. See, he sticks his middle finger out. Okay, right there. Just pause it. As he takes his hands off the desk, see the middle finger, right? Okay, now watch again. Start looking at his fingers. Okay, and you see the guy in the red. His name is Mr. Mavara. Okay. Again, they knew that I was going to come there because of my son. So this was all stage. They knew this. And so when they saw me go back into the school, he waited and then he followed me in. And then he wants to act as if he came there for somebody. All right? Okay? Actually, he's Asian man, not Hispanic. I'm sorry. And I've talked about this, how lately they've been using Asian people in my targeting, particularly in my school. Right? A lot of Asians in my school, they targeted me, which is, a group that, would I scarcely get targeted from them, but now it's much more. Okay, so they've infiltrated this group of people to participate in this program. So watch. There you go again with the middle finger. See, I just paused it right there. The little finger and the middle finger. It's funny because a lot of times they have you fixated on certain things, but you'll see. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So this is what they've been doing at PS6, bullying my son, and the teachers know, this faculty knows because they're all involved. They're involved, and when people talk about this stuff, people love to label the people who talk about this stuff as being crazy, right? And that's how they get away with it, using the especially the state, and this is definitely a government-run program, all right, the target individual program, and they will do anything to shut us up, to prevent us from exposing what it is that they're doing. And the fact that I've continued to expose it, they've used Pam against me to try to shut me up. They try to, they'll bully my children to try to shut me up. They'll take away certain things from you. They will turn the people against you, people around you against you. Well, I definitely know they turn Pam against me. Okay, I think the only reason why she's tolerating me is because she needs help with these kids. Okay, and I, on the other hand, I'm here because I love my kids, I love her, but if it gets to the point where, which is very hard because not to say I can leave and not be here. I would hate to think what would happen, and not to say that anything serious, but the physical appearance of my kids, them being late to time, just the whole stuff, and the fact that me not being here will give these people more of an excuse or a chance to bully my kids. And even recently, he doesn't want to go to the Boys and Girls Club anymore, and he's the one that really wanted to go, but now he doesn't want to go because the stuff also happens in the Boys and Girls Club right here in Bedford. The staff members also, when I go in there, I'm targeted by the staff members, so I definitely know my kids. And like I said, that time when this kid was picking on him, and instead of the kid that was picking him getting in trouble, they gave my son a warning letter. So I had to speak to the person in charge and had my son explain to her what happened. She went to speak to the other kid and came back and told them to tear up the letter that they gave him and to take his name out of the book that they put his name in, right? So again, punishing my kid for sticking up for himself because another kid was bullying him and bothering him. And so I have to go and speak to these people time and time again. And you guys see me do these videos, and I mention, the bullying of my son and my daughter. For instance, they'll take her sweater, right, or her jacket, and they'll sit on it. They'll pile their book bag on it. I went to pick up my daughter one night, and they tell me that they couldn't find her jacket. So I said, "How can you not find her jacket?" And this is at the Boys and Girls Club at Bedford, right here between Snyder and Church, right? How you gonna tell me you can't find my daughter's jacket? She came in there with her jacket on. So finally they were able to find her jacket, and I asked them where they find it. It was in the gym. And I said, well, you guys looked in the gym because the other students had piled their book bag on top of her jacket, not anybody else's. The same thing they did with her sweater, right? This was last week. She didn't have a sweater, so I said, okay, right, you got your jacket, we'll let them look for the sweater, let's go. And the next day they found her sweater, where, again, in the gym, when they looked in the gym, and they said that it wasn't there because students were taking her clothing and putting their book bags on top of it. Okay, so but this is what I got to do. I have to fight, expose what this is going on. It can't be quiet. How can you expect me to be quiet? And this is what these people do. They want me to be quiet. They don't want me to talk about this stuff of what it is that they're doing. Okay, and so see how the sirens got very quiet, right? Now you guys might be able to pick it up because this mic is pretty good because I can hear it in my headphone, but normally you'll hear it really, really loud. Now they're very quiet. You can hear it, but not as loud. Okay, so it is. I can't even say it is what it is, but I know that I have to expose what's being done, and I cannot allow them to keep doing this, and me being silent. Then on top of that, the use of Hispanic women in my targeting. So Monday, I had to go to one of the class early because I told the professor I was going to come to a Monday class. And I got up early, woke the kids up, ironed their clothes, made them breakfast, made myself breakfast. I sat down to eat breakfast. I was going to leave at 7:30. Ended up not leaving because I woke Pamela up. I said, hey, you got to get up. You got to take these kids to school because I got to go to class early. I got to go to this other class, for 8:30. She laid in bed. After eating breakfast, I went to wake up again. She's still in bed. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take them to school because if I don't, they'll probably get to school like 9 o'clock after 9. So that's what I did, right? So I dropped them. I took them to school as I got to the playground, the yard in which they entered to go into the school. Now they got loud now. Yeah, they hear me. So, and again, you see how they just cut off? No dissipation of sound. Right? So anyway, she's sitting there, all nonchalant, looking at me, Anyway, give my daughter a kiss, give my son a hug, and turned around to walk out, and she gets up and starts walking in front of me. So she's walking in front of me. You had these parents. These are a lot of female black women. They kept looking at her and looking at me, looking at her and looking at me. So at that point, I started recording, right? And I uploaded this video. I needed to include this again, right? So, of course, now you see these, and it's interesting too. Here's another thing. Recently, a lot of these high school kids, junior high school kids, have been hanging around at my kids' school. And I've spoke to the vice principal about it. I spoke to the security person, Mr. Brown, about it. And I said, of all the years that my kids have been going to the school, I have never seen the amount of high school students and junior high school students hanging out in front of the school. And normally, when you see stuff like this happening, particularly when there's high school students, and they're not picking up a relative or anything like that, a brother or sister, but they're just hanging out, causing trouble, fighting in front of the school and stuff like that. There's something external going on here. And you have to look at law enforcement. And I'm going to say this with the most seriousness, because these racist people within the police department, including people that look like me, black people who are racist as shit because they want to be all up in these white police officers' ass, okay, because they think that they're going to get a promotion, they're going to make detective or captain or sergeant, that they're willing to compromise our kids, including us as black men and women, to achieve their goal. So you'll see them acting worse, treating us worse than these white racist people on the police force. Okay? So again, you'll see them here hanging out in front of the school. Now there's a high school further up, Erasmus High School. And like I said, I normally don't see, them hanging out in front of my kids' school. But here they are. So as I turn the corner, okay, you'll see him there. Again, let's go back. As he sees me. Okay, and now he saying something. I don't know what he's saying, but it's all scripted. It's all orchestrated. And you see again her. Gotta put them on video, right? Gotta expose them, because this is the type of stuff that they engage in. This is the type of behavior that they are engaging in, right? These people, okay? And you see how they don't say nothing when I start recording their behind, right? Because they know what it is that they're up to. They know. And so I gotta expose it, right? Now, after this, because they try to and this is what they're doing now. So I go to school, right? And that afternoon, I had to go back to school to meet my lab partner. And as I said, I meet you in the lunchroom. So I went into the lunchroom, and he came, and we were going into the lab, the computer lab. And as I walk into the computer lab, another Hispanic student, female, walk in front of me in the same manner that this Hispanic female did. And my lab partner, he kept looking at my hands, because I had my phone in my hands, but I wasn't recorded. I was listening to music. And he kept looking at my phone, looking at my phone, looking at my phone. So I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm beginning to see a pattern here. Is this some sort of threat that if I record them, they're going to be using Hispanic females to target me, or to spread some lie or what have you, a rumor? But guess what? I'm still doing my video. I'm still recording. You haven't shut me up. So what's the definition of insanity? Let's look that up. Definition of insanity. right? It is often said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expected a different result. Very, very often said, right? So if this is what, because I hear people say this all the time. So if this is what we go by, these people keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? So, again, but in the Google dictionary section, it says the state of being seriously mentally ill, madness, extremely foolish or irrational. So, what would you call people who keep doing the same shit over and over again, expecting me to be quiet about what it is that they're doing to me, right? And would stand on the sidewalk day in, day out, whether it be sleet, snow, thunderstorm, or what have you. They will walk across the street not looking, just so that they can try to target me, get hit by cars, you know, it's a whole bunch of stuff, right? Just to engage in the psychological harassment, right? What do you call someone like that? What do you call someone who will walk on the highway, right, wearing certain colors just so they can target me because that's the direction that I go to pick up my son and to come back home? What do you call those type of people that would put themselves in harm's way like that just so they can target another person, right? But yet they want to call me crazy. Okay, I try to label me in some way as being, having some sort of mental illness. Yeah, okay. Well, if that's the definition of it, then I'm not the one who's mentally ill. They are. Okay? Alright, so now I'm at the bus stop waiting for the bus. And, recently, since I had to go and redo my examination for my disability, so lately what they've also been doing is that every time I walk by a bank, they will look into the bank, look at me, stick their tongue out, stick their finger in their ears, try to send me a subliminal message about, again, it's the same old shit rehash over and over. And if I receive disability, I'm going to get arrested. Sometimes they'll use the police, sometimes they don't. It depends on, I guess, if I'm actively recording, they won't use the police. But when I'm not, they'll use the police. Okay? So here I am, standing waiting for the bus, and watch. So as soon as I start turning the camera, the phone to record this guy right here, he turns around, he starts looking at the old woman in the red jacket. And again, they use a combination of people, different age group. It doesn't matter, from the very young to the very old. Okay? Now you see this woman here in the black. She's on the far right of the video. She's looking at him and she's doing this to him. Okay? Some people again know what it is that they're doing, and they try to, I don't know if she's doing it at me or what have you. But now you see the woman in the red jacket. Okay, you'll see her now sticking her hands in her ears. You see, and the guy walks by, and he is scratching his head. But again, this is all part of masking the targeted. As you can see here, the middle finger is partly sticking out, because again, that's their way of trying to sneakily give me the middle finger without being noticed, right? So there she goes again. Actually, she was actually doing it to me. So now that I look at the video, I was just going by memory beforehand. But you'll see her looking, and you see her eyes as she's looking into the bank. And this is the bank that I go to. This is the bank that I bank at. Okay, and then she looks back. Who is she looking back at? But the guy that was walking in the blue sweater, trying to, give me the middle finger, but masking it quite well. But again, I know all of their tactics, all of their technique. Okay, so now Panda phone back to the old lady again. Now she, as the woman walk by, turn back to her. You'll see her stick her finger in her ears again. Okay, now watch what she does. Okay, so you see, right? And come to think of it, she's looking back here. She's probably looking back at the old lady, not the man. And you see she's doing this. Okay. So now as I turn back, see the old lady. Okay. And see how she flicks the phone in her hands. Okay. Sticking her fingers in the air, and then she flicks the phone. See that? Okay. But again, trying to mask it with the earbud, right? Okay, watch. She comes over towards me, turns around, she does the same thing again. Okay. There she goes again. Alright, so you see this guy now comes up and he's gonna do this. Another guy walking in a black jacket doing the same thing. See, this is a blitz. See, he's doing. Okay. Check this out now. Again. So let me just talk about this also, which is another thing that they've been doing. But I find it funny. Is that now they'll do the staring campaign. So for example, if I'm sitting next to someone on the bus, they'll constantly turn, look at me for a couple of seconds, and turn back. So I started doing the same thing too. So when they turn, I turn and I look at them. Right? Because, it has no effect on me. So, they don't really do it as often anymore. But they do it to see if, it gets annoyed. I don't know. I just, like I said, I use the same tactics back at them. Right? Whenever I see a repeated pattern going on, I know I'm being psychologically conditioned or had been psychologically conditioned. And so I turn around and I do the same thing back to them. Okay, now you'll see this guy. He waits until I turn around and I'm getting on the bus. You see he's wearing the blue jacket right here. To get up to walk to the bus. Now check this out. Yeah, that's him right there. Okay, now I'm going to tell you how they again send a subliminal message. So this guy, okay, he waits until I turn around, walking towards the bus to get on the bus. Then he decides to walk towards the bus, right? Remember I talked about synchronization? So it gets to the point where I'm getting ready to get on the bus. He comes in sync with me at the same position, well, directly, almost a little bit, in my position, but he's a little bit behind me, and he grabs me. Right now, he's trying to act as if he's blind. Now, obviously, you saw the bus pull up. Obviously, you saw me turn to get on the bus because that's when you started walking because you were standing at the corner, not the corner, but in front of the store, right? And then he's like, help me. Okay, And so now you'll see the Hispanic woman here. She's gonna pinch her nose. Watch. You see that? Look. Okay. Okay, and here you go with the religious theme. God bless everybody got on the bus. But then he started asking for money. So again, the subliminal threat of taking away my disability, not being able to have any financial resource to be asking for money and stuff like that. This is what they want to do, right? But again, you want to go ahead and do that, go ahead. But you're not going to shut me up. I'm going to still expose you. I'm going to find some way, and I'm going to still expose you. Okay? Okay, now again, you see the woman sitting there. What is she doing? But this. Let's go back again. See that? And she's looking at the guy that had grab onto me outside the bus, right? Again, I always see them sticking their fingers in their ears or doing something with their ears, right? Okay. Let's get to the next video. It's the continuation. Okay, so this is all in the same day now. So this is, I went to school, left class, walked to the bus stop, and you see across the street right here, you start to see the fire truck. Okay, now check this out. You didn't even know I was recording the way how I had the phone. Now look at the bus driver. What she's gonna do? See? Grabs his middle finger. Starts looking at his middle finger. Again, tried to mask giving me the middle finger. But again, like I said, they will never stop, and I will never stop recording them and exposing what it is they're doing. And no matter what kind of threats you want to send me about using women against me or using Pam against me or what have you, in order to shut me up, to expose what it, and this is religious people that's doing this shit, right? Let make no mistake about it. Those within these white supremacists, because they call themselves Christians, that's what they are. They are good Christian people, but yet they hang black people. They cut off black people's genitals. They enslave black people. They rape black people, right? They murder our kids, right? But they're good at standing Christians, okay? And you have these black fools following the same religion, okay, engaging in the same behavior that is being done to them. At the same time, they're doing it to another black person, right? and saying, you have these two people get on the bus, right? And I want you to see what happened. She sits on one side, he sits on one side. He's talking to her, and he's across there, and he's doing this. Let me turn it the other way around. He's doing this, right? And you'll see when I turn the phone towards him, he's going to get up and move over to the other side. And I should have turned it sooner, but I wanted to see what she was going to do. See, I just turned to actually I did turn towards him, but he didn't do it again. You see the police vehicle parked up across the street? Now the fire trucks is leaving. Okay, let me see what else he was doing. And again, so now you see he's doing this. Okay, and then when I pan the camera towards him, now he sees it. Now he goes over here. Yeah, he didn't want his face to be caught on video. That's why I say a lot of them, they're cowards. Okay, they're cowards. Make no mistake about it. Okay, so that was that. So, like I said, so went back to school that afternoon. This was Monday. To meet my lab partner. Yeah. Went into the lab, and the students in the lab started talking to me. So I started talking them back. And within half an hour of them talking to me and me talking to them, 95% of the lab, people in the lab, exit out the lab. They left. And I was just laughing, And the whole time my lab partner is trying to target me, he's like, and now, he said he's sick, right? And I can understand the sniffling if you're sick. But see, like every damn minute, he's like, and he kept saying that over and over and over and over, right? Just like sometimes when I'm talking to Pam, and she starts yawning, right? Now these are conditioning things that has been done to them, and so, excuse me, they've been conditioned to do it to me. And so, I just got to expose this stuff. And also, I forgot to bring this up because I've been talking about what was happening in my targeting. So if you're a target individuals, you have young children, whether they've been elementary, junior high school, or high school, you need to look out for these signs. Okay? And it says, watch for these signs that your child might be dealing with a bully. School refusal. Like I said, for example, every time this stuff like this happened, I think there's only one time that a parent came back to the school, and because it was it's the seriousness of it, and not to say that all of them wasn't serious, but she pushed my son off of the wall, and he fell and bruised up his face. Okay, and the mother came. Right, I spoke to the mother about it. This what happened this last time. The parents never came up, and at that point, if you're at a school, you need to say, hey, if you don't come to the school to discuss the matter, your child is going to be suspended. She damaged my son's face. Okay, he had a huge black mark for a couple of days on his face, and she broke his glasses. But yet, the school didn't contact me and said, hey, Mr. Nicholson, I've reached out to the child parent, and would like to set up a meeting between you, Ethan's mom, between Ethan's parent and the child parents to discuss this so that this doesn't happen again, and that the child understands the seriousness of her action or his action. None of that was done. Okay? But yet, like I told him this morning, I said, I'm not coming up here no more. Next time, I'm going to bring his brother. I'm going to bring his older cousins. I'm going to let them whip that child's ass. Okay? Maybe then y'all going to start taking it seriously. Because this is what the schools do. When students are being bullied in the schools don't do shit. The faculties don't do shit. Until a kid walks in with a gun and starts shooting the place. Until a kid seriously injured another kid, then they think. But initially, when you tell them and you complain, they don't do anything. And this is what leads to, particularly in high school and colleges, these students feeling like as if no one in the school cares, and they go and do some shit. Right? That's not going to be my son. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm not going to allow them to physically abuse my son and to psychologically damage him. That's not going to happen. Okay? So, freaking stomach, headaches, and other physical complaints, agitation and moodiness, sleep disturbance, including nightmares and difficulty falling asleep, change in eating habits, bedwetting, appearance sad, lonely, anxious, and or depressed with no known cause, avoiding peer interaction after school and on weekends, talking about being alone at school, increased self-blame, feeling helpless or worthless, afraid of riding the bus, sudden change in school performance, any communication about suicide, no one care if I live. Well, my son don't say that stuff, but we're talking about, what I'm talking about here is, again, with the headache situation. Like today, he turned around after and came, tears in his eye, saying he has a headache because he didn't want to go to school. Right? And like I said lately, also, he doesn't want to go to the after school program at the Boys and Girls Club. And so when I start to see these signs, and particularly this morning, and how his behavior was, I went to the school and I told them, I said, listen, I am done. I am not fucking around anymore. And if you guys are allowing these students to keep bullying my kids, and not doing anything, then guess what? Y'all gonna have to call the police. And excuse me for cursing in my language, because this shit is getting out of hand. And the police are involved. The police are directly involved in my targeting. And this is the reason why the school faculties don't do shit, because the police are involved. They're involved. Okay? They are directly involved. Right? That's why you see all these high school students, junior high school students, hanging out in front of an elementary school fighting. Right? But I've shown you guys videos where you have police cars, sometimes 5 and 6, outside of the high school. Right? There's always a police car parked up in front of, not always, but majority of the time, parked up in front of my kid's school. Right? There's school safety officers. Right? But yet this shit goes on. And I brought it to the attention of the vice principal and Mr. Brown. Okay? So, like I said, I'm done. I've told my son, hey, a kid bothering you, go and tell the teacher. I've done it the right way. Okay? I've done it the right way all the time. I've told him this. I said, now, if you tell the teacher doesn't do anything, and the kid continues to bully you, then you have a right to defend yourself. But I've told my son this. Right? And like I said, my son is not going to be one of those kids that they're going to beat up all the time. And I need to talk to him again and say, listen, I don't care what they say. I don't care what it is they say. Right? You're not going to get in trouble with me. Defend yourself. Defend yourself. And this is going to be my advice to him going forward from now on. No more going and tell the teacher. A kid bother you, you defend yourself right there on the spot. Okay? Because these faculty members within PS6 is not taking it seriously because, again, they're part of it. And they all, you know, they like to push their religious bullshit, their Christianity bullshit. Okay? And they know I'm not a Christian. And that's all the more reason why they'll target your children. If you're not a in their belief system, you're not a Christian, and they know you're not, they will target you. And now check this out. So after I came out of the office this morning, the security guard who I talked to, I talked to her once in a while, tried to, educate her on certain things. But you have to understand that a lot of these Christian motherfuckers, they're agents. They're there to find out who is not Christians and who is, right? And then as I'm walking out, she says, "Have a peaceful day." She had a car honk, right? And I'm just laughing. Because these people don't believe in peace. They're not peaceful. They like to fool themselves. So a lot of times when they talk about, especially a lot of the religious people, they love to talk about their religion as being peaceful. Apparently, they don't read history. Apparently, they don't see what's going on in the world today because they like to ignore shit. They're ignorant, right? They have an ignorant mentality. Okay? And so, let me say this. Let me post this. Okay. So, let me educate the ignorant mind, religious people, okay, before I leave, right? So, unless they know and they're just pushing that shit onto everybody else while they can engage in war and violence, but they want you to practice peace because that's what the slave master did to the slave, right? Practicing peace and love while he or she beat, raped, murdered, kidnapped, sold people while talking about peace and love, right? So, let's go. And, I really gotta, because people just, just ignorant as shit. Yeah, they tell that they don't really read the Bible. Matthew 10:34. And there's different versions here. Do not suppose I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. So, why do these Christians keep talking about Jesus came to bring peace on earth and peace on earth? Right? Again, let's me read another version. And again, look at the changing of the words in the Bible. And I should tell you something, right? Because we all know in the Bible it says that this book shall not be changed in any format or what have you. Right? So, don't imagine that I come to bring peace on earth. I came not to bring peace, but a sword. English Standard Version. Do not think I have come to bring peace on earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. The Berean Study Bible. Do not assume I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. Do not think, this is the Berean Literal Bible. Do not think that I come to bring peace on earth. I come not to bring peace, but a sword. New American Standard Bible. Do not think that I come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace on earth, but a sword. Okay? So, and again, let's talk another one. But whoever denies me before men, I will also deny him before my Father in heaven. Do not assume that I have come to bring peace on earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to turn a man against his father, a daughter against his mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and such and such. Okay? So if let's go cross references. Luke 12:51. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. No, I tell you, but division. Okay? So who are you worshiping? I thought the devil is the one that, bring division. Right? Okay. Revelation 6:4. Then another horse went forth. It was bright red, and its riders was granted permission to take peace from the earth and to make men slay one another, and he was given a great sword. So, like, who are you worshiping? So don't tell me about Jesus is about peace and love when your own Bible tells you that Jesus' supposed own word that he did not come to bring peace on earth, but a sword. Okay? So Christians, let me hear your thoughts on that. All you religious TIs, let me hear your thoughts on that. Comment below. Let me know. Okay? Just here to bring the truth. Okay? Open your eyes to the truth, not the bullshit that they teach you. If you're going to read the Bible, read the Bible. The whole of it. Not the one that they not the chapters and the verses that they tell you to read. Read all of it. Okay? And read how ridiculous that shit sound. And friggin' unbelievable, and the person who wrote, the people who wrote it, especially Revelations and all that stuff, let me tell you, those are the ones who are mentally ill. Okay? Alright, well, that's it for the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.